Construction projects all around the city of Irving are leading to new buildings, new roads, and a growing concern: drainage. There is less uncovered soil to soak up any rain.
As the city gets built up and more concrete gets poured, you get more hard surface, more rooftops, more and more of that water runs off to where sometimes you get up to as much as 90% of the stormwater runs off. And when you do that, you have to capture it.
The expansion of State Highway 183 created a big challenge.
We were going to wind up putting water closer to people's homes than we ever had before.
That's one of the major reasons behind this work south of the highway. This is the Embassy Channel near Baylor Scott and White Hospital.
With the expansion of 183, we were facing a lot more storm runoff coming down through the central part of southern Irving. And those creeks and channels that were built in the 50s and 60s, they just weren't ready to handle all that drainage coming off the road.
This is what the channel looked like about a year ago. The difference the work is making is clear. Here it is now. Once it's finished this summer, the channel will be several feet deeper. The design of the new walls also adds to the capacity. A big difference is also visible in this area near the Live Oak Bridge. Here it is a year ago, and now.
Instead of having the multiple vertical supports in here, we just have the one, so there'll be a lot less turbulence to the water. And you can also see that we now have the vertical walls instead of the side slopes, which will increase the capacity in the channel.
Crews have also removed other obstructions we saw last year.
This is a utility pole that is in the middle of the channel.
With those things slowing the flow all gone and a larger capacity, homeowners should notice a difference. They will be out of a FEMA 100-year flood zone.
So the property owners that currently have to have flood insurance if they have a mortgage will no longer have that requirement.
Not far away, flooding is something some of these homeowners have experienced.
The neighborhood experienced flooding many times over the years.
They live near the Brockbank Channel, which is currently under construction from Grawweiler Road to State Highway 183. When we visited last year, we could see spots where age and erosion had taken a big toll. Bags of concrete mix were holding up the sides of the channel. Now crews are installing new walls and making this channel deeper.
What you see them doing right here is installing some protective shoring for the property owner next door that has a lot of improvements in his yard that we're trying to protect.
The proximity of homes to all of this work has been one of the biggest challenges for the city. So they have worked to keep homeowners updated.
It is a very complicated project. Not only are we having to make sure it's done safely and it's done correctly, but we don't want to go and tear up everybody's life, for a year and a half, 2 years.
The projects we have shown you are expected to be finished this year, but there is a lot more to do.
All over town, we have improvements that are needed.
That's why the city is starting a drainage assessment.
A lot of these channels haven't been looked at for years and years, so we're wanting to go out and identify areas where concrete channels may be under distress, or we may have some erosion problems.
Teams will be walking the channels to get a close look at the conditions. That will help them prioritize projects.
We don't want a potential major failure where there's property damage or life at stake. So it gives us an opportunity to see what areas we need to concentrate on.
And then we can focus our dollars that we do have left in the best place and the highest need.
The city had to make emergency repairs to the Burn Bray channel after the concrete buckled and dirt eroded behind it. Private property was at risk of damage.
One of the purposes of this citywide stream bank assessment project we're embarking on is so that we are not going out on an emergency basis. Of course, if you go out on an emergency basis, the costs are usually higher.
Drainage Programs Coordinator Brent Redd works to educate residents on water quality, because what people dump or let run off into channels has a bigger impact than they might expect. He talks about fertilizer, pet waste, and more.
Where does that water go? It doesn't go into a sewer system where it gets filtered and cleaned and put back into our watershed. It runs down our streets and into gutters, and then from there into our drainages, where it eventually ends up into the Trinity River, which is our source of our drinking water and a big source of our recreation.
The city is hoping people will see how everything is connected and how the work crews are doing is making a difference in neighborhoods. Drainage is a subject the capital improvement team will be talking about a lot more in the months ahead as Irving grows and infrastructure ages.
This is not a situation that's isolated to one part of town. It is basically all over town.
Thomas Gandy for CitySource.